Hi, my name is Pop. This is video number 3 in Spreadsheet Basics. In video number 1, we learned how to add stuff up on a spreadsheet. I am using LibreOffice Calc. To review, we learned that things going up and down are called columns, and we are in column A. A column is a thing that holds up a porch. It is vertical. Rows go horizontally. This is row 1, row 2. I am in a cell that is named column first, row second, D2. This is B2. This is A6. We learned in the first video that you could add things up in a spreadsheet, and you precede your instructions with an equal sign. And the equal sign tells the computer not just to type something into a cell as though it were text, but rather to act upon it. So here I am going to say 2 plus 2, and when I hit enter, we'll see the answer 4. The syntax is in reverse of standard English. In English we would say 2 plus 2 equals. Here we say equal 2 plus 2. The equal has to come first, because if we just put in 2 plus 2 and then equals, the computer still thinks we're writing text. And notice when you do write text, it goes over to the left, because the formatting of text defaults to go to the left, and numbers, it defaults to go to the right. You can change this by going up into formatting, cells, and here this says numbers. Here this says numbers. But it thinks this is not a number. It thinks it's text because it is not preceded by a number, and it is not preceded by an equal sign. It gets confusing. Just remember, whenever you want to add something, you start off with an equal sign. There's another way you can add things up. You can use sigma sum. Sum tells the computer add stuff up. And you can add things up that are in a list. And the list is separated by commas. I told it to add up 1, 2, and 3. And when I hit enter, we get the answer. The other thing I could have done is told it to add up 1 plus 2 plus 3, and you get the same answer. If you notice, this one is separated by commas, this one is separated by plus. Doesn't make any difference, because the word sum is what is telling it what to do. If I were to just say equal 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, we're going to get an error, because although the equal sign tells the computer to act upon that string of numbers, it doesn't say what to do with that string of numbers. If I substituted the plus sign instead of a comma, I would end up with the correct answer. You can also add up a range, a column, a grid, and you can do this manually, or you can use the automatically built-in sigma sum. Sigma is a Greek letter of the alphabet that corresponds to S. And when I tap it, the built-in intelligence of the program assumes that anything contiguous to where I tap, either going up or going across, whatever it's next to is what you want to add up. And here it correctly assumes I want to add up everything in that column. And notice that the blue rectangle around everything shows you ahead of time what is selected, so you may change that if you want to. There is a range that is represented by B1 through B3. The word through is represented by a colon. B1 is the first entity in the range, and B3 is the last entity in the range. And the colon represents anything and everything that's between the first and the last. It could be as long as you want. When you hit enter, it adds it up. You can do it a different way. I'm going to erase that and start over, and I'll put it in manually. Equal sum, open parentheses. Let's go B1 colon B3 colon, enter. But I could go here and edit and make it B2. And now the range is shorter. The range is B2 through B3. Actually, there is nothing in between 2 and 3. So the range is kind of short. It's nothing. But notice I have excluded B1. What would happen if you just went in and did something weird and changed the range to equal itself? It still works. It's kind of a roundabout way of doing it strangely, but it still works. When we add things up like this, we have to be careful of our syntax. And there is a grid that we can add up. In other words, it doesn't just have to be a column. It could be any size grid. It could be a cell reference, or it could be pure numbers. Let me just refer to this column here, and I've got 2, 3, 4, and 9, and I'm going to say equal sum, and I'm going to mix things up. I'm going to say C1 plus C3 plus, oh, I don't know, how about 100? I've got the pure number 100. It doesn't represent any cell at all. And then I've got a cell address C3, which presently right now has got the number 4 in it, and C1, which has the number 2 in it. Let's see, 2 and 4 is 6, so the answer should be 106. But if I would go in there and change C1, the answer will change. A spreadsheet is a lot of fun. You can do stuff with it all day long. Now, I want to show you the difference between a spreadsheet and a calculator when you bring up the new topics of add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Let me erase all of this first. Backspace, delete cell contents. Let me just bring up the calculator and I'll show you something real quick. This is kind of interesting. This pink column right here, it shows the 4 functions: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Well, add is represented always with a plus symbol, and subtract is always represented with a minus symbol. Multiply is represented on a calculator with an X. But on a spreadsheet, you don't use X, you use the star symbol. And similarly, you don't have on a keyboard the division sign. You do have a slash though. Now, I want to show you on a keyboard layout what's going on here. You do not have a division symbol, but you do have this slash symbol. You use this to divide. There is another backslash here. You can't use this one. If you've got a 10 key on your keyboard, there's also a slash up here. And it's more convenient to use the 10 key if you have it and this slash symbol. Similarly, when you're multiplying, you use the star, the asterisk, up here. There is another asterisk on the computer, the normal keyboard, but you have to use the shift key and it's above the 8. That's backwards thinking a little bit, to use the shift key to do something. So I hope that your computer keyboard does have a 10 key on it. To add and subtract, you got plus, minus, multiply, divide. Divide, multiply, subtract, add. It's real easy with the 10 key. You see what I'm saying? If you don't have the 10 key, you do it here. And where's plus? Plus, you got to go here. Minus, you got to go here. Multiply, you got to go here. There is a trick. You can use X to multiply, and it'll tell you you've made an error. So let me show you how that works. Let's do a few. Equal 2 plus 2, enter. Equal 4 minus 2, enter. Equal 2x 3, and it's going to tell you, hey, did you mean 2 star 3? And it works. But it's better if you go equal 2 star 3, enter. With division, you got to use the slash symbol. Equal 12 slash 3, enter. I want to show you a minor glitch. You can convert into text by removing the equal sign. I hit enter. It's turned into text, 2 plus 2. It's no longer calculating. Down here there is a problem because I used a dash, and a dash could be a date symbol, and similarly a slash could be a date symbol. This, if I remove the equal sign, that could be December 3rd, and here this could be April the 2nd, and that's exactly what happens if I remove the equal sign. That does not happen with the star or the plus. That just turns into regular old text. But using the slash and the dash, that'll turn into December 3rd, and it assumes this year 2011. I just wanted to forewarn you in case you might run across that accidentally and become confused. What the heck happened here? Quite often when something anomalous happens with a spreadsheet, You think maybe you've got a defective spreadsheet or you hit it wrong, but quite often with a little thinking you can figure it out, that the computer acted the way it was supposed to act. You just didn't anticipate it. Now, let's say you want to turn this back. Well, what are you going to do? Well, you think you're going to go up here to Format, and you're going to go to Cell, and it says Date, so let's turn it into a number, right? Wrong. Now it just turned it into a sequential number from the date. So I just wanted to forewarn you about that. It's not a common occurrence, of course. I want to now segue into another topic, and this really is not computer stuff, this is math stuff. When you've got a whole bunch of calculations that involve add, subtract, multiply, and divide, a minor problem comes up. Equal 1 plus 2 plus 3, enter. That's 6. What if I had put it in reverse? Equal 3 plus 2 plus 1, enter. It's still 6. The computer doesn't really care the direction. That's because math doesn't care direction. If you look at this one, 3 and 2 is 5. Add 1, you get 6. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 and 3 is 6. You could even take the end ones and add them first. 3 and 1 is 4. Now add the middle one. 2 is 6. Same thing. And if you added in the minus sign, same deal. It doesn't make any difference which ones you subtract first or which ones you add first. But a problem arises when you mix in division or multiplication. I will show you that real quick. Many people have seen this and wondered about it. You've got 12 divided by 3. Well, that's 4, right? Plus 4, that's going to be what, 8? But what if your logic told you to focus on the 3 plus 4 first? Well, that's 7. 12 divided by 7, that's a different answer. So there is a convention in mathematics that you do your multiplication and division first. Then you follow that by addition and subtraction, and you do it in that order all the time. Now, you might mistakenly think, well, wait a minute now, how about this? How about we've got the equal sign over on the left and everybody reads from left to right. How do I know that the correct way of doing this is not that you do the stuff on the left first and then the right and then more right and then more right until you're done? You can test that. 12 divided by 3 is 4, plus 4 is 8. Let's just put the 4 over in the beginning position. 4 plus 4. It's still 8. That's because 4 plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 and 4 is 8. But what if I said 4 plus 12 is 16 divided by 3? See, there would be a way different answer. There is a way around this if you need to get around this, and that is to use parentheses. Anything that's in parentheses takes precedence. You do it first. Now you see that answer? I did 4 plus 12, that's 16, and 16 divided by 3, and there's your answer. So I just wanted to tell you that the sequence of things can be changed depending on the order of operations, which can be overridden with parentheses. You might say, well, you know what, the parentheses, you got to use the shift key, and the darn shift key, let me pop it up here. See, in order to use the parentheses, you've got to hold your shift key like this, and you might say to yourself, well, heck, I'd rather just use the square brackets. The square brackets, you don't have to use the shift key, and besides that, there's these other weird looking things up on top of the square brackets. Why don't I use those? Well, you can't. You have to use the parentheses. So, we have learned how to multiply and divide, add and subtract. We've used sigma sum. We've learned that columns go up and down, rows go across. Cells are addressed as the intersection between columns and rows, and we call a cell column row, column row, column row, in that order. And we have learned that you use an equal sign to tell the computer to begin doing something, and then that is either followed by numbers or cell addresses, and then some operation has to be in there. You have to tell it to do something, either with a plus sign or to add. The plus sign tells it to add, the minus sign to subtract, the slash sign to divide, the star to multiply, and you can use parentheses to override the normal order of operation. You can also use sum sigma function to act upon a string or a range. And that's all I've got. My name is Pop. I sure hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you very, very much.